Hi, everyone. Welcome to week 13. It is the week that I've been talking about for the last few weeks, and that is the week that your final project is due. The lifespan stage is something that you started unbeknownst to you way back in the first couple weeks of this course. You did that by completing checkpoint 1 and then shortly after checkpoint 2. You did your final checkpoint in about week 9, 10, and that was when I gave you feedback on your slide, which will be the way that you communicate to me that you've learned something special in this course. So let's look at our activities that we have for this week. As you know, the lifespan stage report is due, and you will also begin preparing for your final exam. I'll make a note to that will be open prior to this week if you want to get started early. But your learning outcomes are spread throughout the entire course because you were allowed to pick any topic that you wanted as long as it was specific enough that you could cover it in the depth that was necessary for this class. So, as you can see, the task list is all the components of the lifespan stage project. Again, this is something that has been open since the end of September, so a good month. And you have had multiple times that you should be reminded to work on it, and you've actually done some of the steps, even though you may not have known it. The video I'm recording right now will be here as a resource. However, there is also a instruction resource here that will walk you through how to complete this and integrate all of those checkpoints into your project. So your assignments for this week include completing and finalizing that project in a PowerPoint or a Google Slides saved to PDF format and then submitted online. And you will also be turning in your terms to the glossary. The glossary is an easy assignment in terms of how to. So all you need to do is click on that and then add an entry. It's going to give you a familiar discussion board looking type of response. And then you just put your term and then you add your definition here. When you are done, all you need to do is click Save Changes, and it will be in the class glossary. I will be looking for these as I'm grading. It will be part of the grading of the project as well as here. So make sure that you are doing that. And then just real quick, go back one more here. Your actual other components to this. So this has been posted for a while. There is a module at the top of the Moodle course page, and it has been there since the beginning of the semester. I try to talk about it early and often because it does carry a significant weight on it. So here are your tasks of the assignment that you told me about in checkpoint 1, what the event was or what the concept was and how it relates to lifespan development, why you're interested in studying it. And then you also gave me a sample of your terms in checkpoint 2, and you showed me a visual aid in checkpoint 2. You also used the appropriate citation using APA format, which I will be expecting in this assignment as well. So all of those things you've been doing, and now it's time to grade them. So I'll be looking for you to turn in an organized and well-structured project and talk about why it's relevant to understanding lifespan development. I will be looking for you to cover the content with adequate processing of concepts. This is exactly why I wanted you to pick a very specific or narrow topic. You will also be sharing your full presentation to the discussion board as well as the class glossary. And you will be using visual aids within this. There should be academic ones as well as ones I call complementary. So they support the content, but they aren't necessarily something you would find in an academic journal or the likes. And then I assume you all are able to use the functions that your word processing device has, and making sure that you have correct spelling, punctuation, grammar, and most importantly, citations. Anytime we are using additional sources, we need to use internal citations as well as having a citation page. That is how I will be grading this assignment. And let's see. Oh, the last thing, now please note the due date here. This is not due until Sunday the 7th, but I recommend if you have access to it, you can do it, work ahead, because then you're getting into final exam study time. So in week 14 is when it's basically going to be due, but you will be sharing your presentation with the class. So what does this mean? You are going to take your presentation, you're going to create a video about your presentation, and then you are going to come up with a couple, maybe discussion post questions that go along with your presentation that your classmates might want to answer. Because we are going to be processing these, we're going to be responding. And if you have those questions, then they've got something very easily to respond to. So you will post your video, you will add 2 discussion questions that go along with the presentation, and then you are also going to respond to 2 of your classmates' presentations. And here is a how to make your video. I have given you a couple different ways of doing it. This is kind of a silly video. I do not take myself too seriously, and I walk through a bunch of options. And then here is how, if you chose to make a video, what I always do is make an unlisted video on YouTube. That way, just so you guys see it. But it also is very easily accessible and added to the course shell. So that is why I recommend doing that. If I find that you guys are having issues with this, I do support you, but please try to follow those and see if that works for you. And then you will just do as normal, add a discussion post and post in your video and your questions. And again, remember this one, I know it might be out of the comfort zone. It's not due the end of week 13. It's actually due the end of week 17, 14, which gives us some time to work through it. But I highly recommend that you get started on it ASAP, because 20% of your grade is 20% of your grade. And I would hate for all of these things that go into that bucket to create a situation where you are doing well and suddenly you have a huge deduction in your grade. So I'm always here. I can meet on Zoom, I can make videos for you, and we can figure this out, okay? So please, should you have any questions whatsoever regarding this project, please reach out as soon as possible. That way we can make sure that you're getting the grade that is reflective of what you've learned in this course. So any questions, please reach out, and I hope that you guys had a fantastic week, and your next week is even better because we're getting done.